So totally
Yeah,
actually.
what were some of the challenges that you both found?
Not really any challenges. Really just excitement because it's such untapped territory. It's not an existing franchise. You know, it's not like the 10th version of Batman that I'm trying to do, which I've done too. But this is it's all new, and I think from that point on, it's less challenging but more fun. And maybe the challenge is in how do you really come up with something completely new or unique that is really specific to this project. But I always find it more of a fun exploration rather than a challenge. And I think with people like, when you're looking at visuals like they've created for this show, which is so good, and the story is so compelling, it just makes it really easy to just come up with something really creative and fun.
Yeah, I totally agree. On my part of the show, it is challenging, but I get to where you are.
Yeah.
I get to where you are. But you come in and you see a lot of like what we've already done.
Yeah.
It is challenging on my part.
Oh, sure it
but
is.
then afterwards,
I don't know how you do it.
Afterwards, my God, it comes together. And the challenges for me in particular are getting everyone on the same page early on, even at development and production. And then when it comes together, then it's really exciting.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Can you tell us a little bit about what each of your roles is with the project?
Sure.
You want to go first?
Okay. I'm the art director
Okay.
and the production designer. And when I started, it's from the beginning, and we work with the executives of the IP. And then we make sure we're all on the same page with the look. And then it's up to me to create the world, or world building. And then gather the right talent to make everything come together visually.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah, and for me, it's basically world building, but with music. You know, so I come in with maybe some concepts that have been discussed before me coming on board, which is we want to have a sense of Dune, maybe some Mad Max, a little bit of Star Wars, things like that are floating around, and then it's my job to take those concepts and also the visuals that I've been given and come up with something that truly identifies this project alone, tells the story from a musical perspective, gives all the themes for all the characters, have that develop as they develop, and just set the tonal mood for the whole piece so that it becomes this own little world that you're in while you're watching it.
Yeah, I'd like to interject or add to what you said. When we world build with visuals and music, I can't believe how much he brings in with backstory and brings it to music and to audio. It's amazing, and that's what I try to do with visuals. And when it comes together, it's just like magical. And I didn't hear the music until way later,
Yes.
and then when it came together, it was really exciting.
It was perfect. So in other words, you would do the visuals and then you would do the because the music is really what gets you in a movie.
Yeah.
You know, if you have horrible back music, you're going to be like,
Yeah.
Yes.
Music's gonna make you cry. Or,
right. And then when you
those
hear the music later, you're like, I remember that from the movie, which would be yours that you remember.
That's right.
Very
that's right.
cool.
It adds this whole new layer. Like people always say, music is another character on the show.
It is.
and often it's true. I mean, hopefully it is. Sometimes it doesn't need to be. Sometimes it has to be kind of very subdued and in the background, and that's the right thing to do.
Uh-huh.
But in this case, our project, I think it has a very dominant role, which I think it deserves and it should.
Yeah.
Very good.
Can I ask a quick clarifying question? Like sense of doom, or like the game Doom?
Oh, Dune.
Oh, like Doom.
Dune.
Okay.
Yeah, like sci-fi.
Okay.
I wasn't even meaning Dune specifically, but just like, take any existing sci-fi and then sort of how do we take pieces of it. And Dune has there's a lot of ethnic instruments in Dune in other worlds, and it's kind of what we've been doing too, but at the same time we have something more sci-fi sounding than any of the Dune soundtracks have.
Yeah, because it's set 200 years in the future, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
like, when creating that kind of audio, what is like the coolest? I mean, I love watching audio developers come up with sounds. So, like, what's the coolest thing you've gone to create a sound for the future?
I don't think we've actually. They're all instruments that already exist, and some of them are ancient.
Okay,
Actually,
like
like
what?
for example, the Armenian duduk, that is a very dominant instrument. It's a very old one. I don't know how old, but it's definitely very, very old. It's nothing new or futuristic by any means. But I think what I try to do is take those old instruments and often distort them and manipulate them in a way that you don't even know what it is anymore, but it just sounds like something from some world that somebody could potentially play, or that would make sense in this universe. Because we're on planets with other cultures and, you know, different religions and people from different backgrounds that have sort of merged together to form new groups of people, and nothing was really too region specific in our case. So it had to all kind of come from a place where you kind of know what it is, but you don't really know where it is or where it's from.
Great.
So, Matt?
Yeah.
So, since I have you both here with pairing off of each other a little bit, you have something that was not in the original medium, and you have something that there was some semblance of a visual style in the original medium. How did you guys
Yes.
approach translating differently, where you were creating something from a non-audio medium and just developing it that way, and you were taking something from a pre-existing visual medium and reinterpreting it in a way that's going to flow into an animation style that's got to create its own thing while still pay homage.
Right. That was very important for me to keep very original designs, yet be loyal to the original IP. And so it was a fine line, but it was my main concern was to make sure that it propelled the IP, the already existing project, to where not just their fans, but everyone and more fans would come and enjoy it. So that was the challenge for me. But it was easy because a lot of the designs, they already did a lot of the groundwork. So I just had to improve upon it and just like expand and add. So, but he on the other hand,
I had
think he
nothing
has a
to go
great,
on.
but he has
is great.
a really great analogy, and
Which one?
the
John, yeah, I said this earlier. I must have felt like John Williams felt when he got hired to do Star Wars 1, because it's like the first time you're doing that, you know, the first time you're coming up with the Darth Vader theme and the Leia theme, because it hasn't been done before. And that's the fun thing about this project, is that it's untapped. Nobody's ever done a version of this before, so you can really just do whatever you think is right, and but hopefully create something unique and special enough that it becomes the sound of this show that people then identify as such.
Klaatu.
Exactly. Yeah.
What instrument is that?
Which one?
The one they use in that movie.
Which movie?
I can only think of Klaatu right now, but I know.
I know.
You know where they
the
come
only-
down and they're like, oh, you must disarm. Everyone must, like, Earth must disarm or we will bomb you.
Right.
I
She's.
don't
That's
know that
from
one.
the.
It's not an early sci-fi movie.
Yeah, it's.
I'm just looking it
Yeah,
up.
Google it.
Yeah, the day the Earth stood still.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, and they have that instrument in it. Yeah, the theremin.
theremin.
Right.
And now,
Sorry.
how that's become like sci-fi. That's like space
Yeah.
now.
they use that in Star Trek.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a woman's voice.
That's right.
Is it really?
In the original series,
So
it
you
was a
hope
woman's
to do
voice.
that. For,
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. Exactly.
Did you invent anything unique like that, where Godzilla's roar is a bass with a wolf steel glove? Was there anything where you took some creative elements on the instruments themselves?
Yeah, I mean, I prepared some instruments. For example, when we first meet Kazad on the rooftop in one of the scenes in the pilot, they wanted his theme, but there's something that we don't know what it is. So I took a cello and I added some things to the strings, like washer clips and things like that, to make it more metallic. And it becomes this kind of weird string instrument. You don't know what it is anymore, and there's a lot of that. Like I would take the Armenian duduk and pitch it down an octave, so it sounds like something else, but kind of cool, you know. And there's a ton of that going on, just because I didn't want anything to be too region specific. So the trick was then to take something from a specific region, but then change it to feel more obscure. I think that worked really well.
how do you like pay? I think this would apply for both of you. Like when adapting an RPG to animation, like how do you kind of match that pace or the feeling of that pace? Both, I think that applies to both art direction and music, because I know music is such an important part of gaming and pacing.
Right. Okay. So my biggest concern is matching the story.
Yeah.
Right. And being loyal to the game. But as far as matching a pace, I don't think the story guys necessarily think about that. We're trying to expand on and build a deeper backstory and lore story-wise, but pace-wise, yeah, that's Jay's thing where it could be action, and as well as tempered with romance or it's just an ebb and flow with pacing.
I think I agree.
That's big for him though.
Because Jay is the guy who knows the game intimately. He's been playing it for 15 years or something like that. So he's very tuned into this franchise and these characters way more than I speak for you, but I wasn't at all before I started this. So I trust his direction entirely. When he says we need more pace here, this is the emotional part, then that's what I will do. Because Jay is the guy steering this ship, and he knows more about this than anybody. So I defer to him on all of those questions.
Ask Jay.
Ask Jay. He's the master. Plus an amazing filmmaker on top of it. So you can really trust his instincts.
Have you guys ever all sat down together and played?
No, but I think that's a very good idea.
Yeah, we should
Stream it.
They should do that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Good idea. I would love to.
When creating a game like this, what's the timetable like for the work process for both
Well, for me, generally for TV shows, it's usually there's like a month or two of conceptualizing, but from that point on, I'm off to the races, just episode by episode. There's usually a 1 to 2 week turnaround, so it's very rapid, and you just kind of play catch up the entire time. Since we only did the pilot so far, it's a little different because we spend a lot more time on that than I normally would. And for all those reasons we just talked about, this that it's something new, and we wanted to create something kind of outside the box. And we went to record an orchestra at Abbey Road in London, so all these things take time. Stuff you normally wouldn't really do for a pilot. We did it anyway. So.
For me, the artwork has to go through Corvus Belli too, the creators of Infinity. So luckily they were very flexible and were understanding of our schedule. We had to keep moving and keep approvals going. So it's a lot of back and forth, and that was very time consuming and hard. So, but I had months, almost a year, to work with the look and stuff like that.
Sorry, I got
You
distracted.
guys, I'll beat out. I'll take them away from you and bring somebody else for you in a minute.
All right.
Come on over.
Abbey Road.
Are you guys?
You got more.
Do you guys have any more questions? Thank you very much.
welcome.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'll have people over for